everyone, and thank you for tuning in for another segment of Career Tip Tuesday. I am your host, Sherry Sims, founder of Black Career Women's Network, and we have our co-host here, the amazing Makita Matthews, who is our Chief Network Director. And welcome again to Career Tip Tuesday. And today we are going to be talking about what anchors you in your career. So I think it's important for us to talk about this as we're about to go into Q4 and start really analyzing what we've been able to accomplish this year, what we haven't accomplished, or just looking at where we are overall in our careers. So, McKinney, you kind of want to kick it off first. Let's see. Well, first, let's see who is joining us so far. I think we are. I know we are live. Just want to see who actually is joining in and watching. We're probably waiting for some of our comments to come in from our LinkedIn viewers. But
Yeah.
today we're going to be talking about what anchors you in your career. McKee and I are going to be sharing with you probably about 5 different types of things that are what we consider our career anchors. But we want to hear from all of you about what are career anchors for you? What are the things that make you feel as if your career is solid? What's holding you down, or what's keeping you motivated and inspired? And what do you need overall? So I think that's important as well. All
Very
right.
much.
Hi, Christina Floss. Welcome to Career Tip Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you're here.
Or Christine. Where
So
you
let's,
where's
yeah,
everyone?
I see some people in that's watching live from inside of our mobile app. I see hi, Carla and Alicia and Stacy. Welcome, everyone. That's tuning in live from inside the Career Hub, which is our exclusive mobile app for Black Career Women's Network, which will give you. We'll talk more about that at the end of today's Career Tip Tuesday. All right, let's jump right in. I see Shatora is here. Welcome. Good afternoon. Is it Rolandari? I hope I'm saying that right. And Daniela and Michelle. Good afternoon, ladies.
Hey, ladies.
Hello, 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 and welcome. Fantastic. Okay, so let's get back, Makita, and we're going to talk about, what anchors you in your career. So let's kick it off with you first.
Yeah.
What anchors you, Makita, in your career? What's important to you to make you feel as if you are on the right track, you're solid, you're moving the way you want to,
Mhm.
or you're accomplishing things that you have, checking off the boxes. What makes you feel anchored in your career?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. It's really two, but the first one that has to exist before all else is autonomy. For sure. I need to be able to do my work and do my tasks as I see fit. And with that, I typically bring a lot of creativity to the table. So just thinking outside of the box. I have my Lean Six Sigma green belt, so I'm thinking about process efficiencies and the best way to be able to get it done. So definitely autonomy, and then creativity is very next second for me. Um, what about you, Sherry?
Um, I have to agree. Autonomy, independence, creativity are hugely important for me. I'm a big picture thinker, so I have to be able to offer input and ideas, and being able to have the resources to execute those things. So without creativity, I'm just like part of the Walking Dead. I'm just,
Mm,
you
mm,
know, I have
mm,
to be able to have that ideation and be able
mm,
to offer
mm.
creating ideas and things like that. That's
Yeah,
what fuels me. Working independently does.
yeah,
But there are some things that I like to be structured, and we're going to talk about those different things because I know some people like to have structure. We're all not the same, and I think it's important that when we're in the workplace, that we're sharing what these anchors are to our managers and leaders that we work with, so they can have a better understanding of our work style, and that way we can either be considered for other projects that can help to balance those things out, or maybe even you and I talk a lot about job crafting. Maybe you can craft something within your role specifically based on your talents and gifts, or what anchors are important to you, and that means you can bring a special touch to your role, uniquely be
mm.
able to showcase your skills and abilities because they're tailored to who you are and what you bring to the table.
That's right.
And we want to hear from some of you what your anchors are too, and even for the ladies who are watching inside of our app. What are some of your career anchors? So the first one we're going to talk about specifically is autonomy and independence, and why for some of us this is hugely important. And I have to say, sometimes being able to get autonomy, independence, it depends on what kind of role you're in, what industry you're in, and it may
Hmm.
take time to gain this, right?
Hmm.
Depending on where you are.
Yeah.
So I know on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this for you, Makita, in terms of I am not accepting a role unless this is, number one on the scale or number 10 on the scale. Where does it land for you?
From least important being one and most important or highest being 10, I need this to be at least an eight or above. I really do.
Mm.
Because um, I I I feel micromanaged when I don't have the ability to do my own thing and do things the way that I would like for them to be done. Because I believe I'm a very different thinker, and I'm always thinking about efficiency, and I'm always thinking about the best process. And even if there's an SOP or job aid, that's great. I'm always going to think about how to make it better for the next person. So this
Oh.
needs this really does need to be an eight or above for me.
So, for those of you who probably don't know, I'm sure we all know what autonomy and independence is, but autonomy is something to where you need freedom to be able to do your work, right? We know a lot of us do not like to be micromanaged, but when you have autonomy, that means you're able to make decisions, you're able to create and implement things, whether it's processes or procedures, or maybe it's if you're in a creative world, maybe it is maybe it's something tangible that
That's
someone can use. So again, I think it's important to understand what that means, and
yeah,
then how much independence can you have, right? So again, knowing these things is hugely important, because if you feel stifled, it may not necessarily mean you don't love the work you do, but maybe there's some other aspects you need to consider so you can have a little bit more freedom
right.
to offer up input, because input is a strength for some
Mm,
people, right? And people want to be, some people who have it as a strength. You're someone who needs autonomy and independence if input is one of your strengths, because you want to be able to make sure that what you're thinking about or what you're trying to create adds value, and that you're going to be heard as well too.
right.
So
That's right.
Diane says, I thought I enjoyed autonomy, but the world of entrepreneurship can get lonely. Now, I like that you bring this up. It's Dion. I hope I'm saying it right. But I like the fact that you're thinking about it from an entrepreneurship perspective, because another form of, we're talking about anchors, is an entrepreneurial spirit or entrepreneurial creativity, and
Mhm.
but it's separate from autonomy, right? Because
Yeah,
autonomy, people can have that's freedom to be able to do specific things in your role, but entrepreneurship autonomy is completely different, because
yeah.
you're responsible for everything,
You're
right?
building everything by yourself. Yeah.
By yourself. So there's, the accountability falls on yourself. If you don't have someone to hold you accountable, you got to hold the fire to your own feet and say, hey, I've got to get this done, or I need to create this. So this it takes a lot of personal or self accountability when you are in that entrepreneur space, and it does get lonely for sure. But if you're in that space, Dion, find you a tribe of women, or just
And accountability.
entrepreneurship people, yeah,
Yeah.
to help you to support and build that.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, because it does get lonely.
It
I have to.
does. We know.
All right. So the next one is pure challenge is another career anchor. And how
Mm.
many people, we want to know how many people are competitive, right? Or maybe there is a project that you're like, you know what, I've never done this before, so this is going to be a challenge to be able to get this done.
Yeah.
Um, some people, I mean, they actually get adrenaline off of this type of anchor. Like
Hmm.
they can't go into a job without being able to be stretched or
Right. Right.
challenged. And not everyone's this way. So I mean, how many people where this is truly an anchor for you, where you like, bring it on. I'm your girl, Um, no challenge is too hard for me to accomplish these things.
Right. Right.
So Christine says, I'm a retired teacher, government worker, and I'm trying to go back to school to obtain my master's. I would like to return to teaching or tutoring a few days a week. And Christine, you should do that. That's a great segue into getting back into the industry, is being able to do that a few days a week or part time. It's going to help again get you back into the market. It's going to, and if you're doing that right, it's going to help you create contacts and networks to help expand on maybe finding out about other opportunities that will be out there for you as you get back into doing the work.
Right.
Nikki, you want
So,
to take that?
role, Andrea, I'm so sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. If you want to put the pronunciation in the chat, please do so. Uh, but she says, with where I am in life, there must be a level of goal attainment and a greater purpose in the organization in my life. That's great. We love that. So it sounds like you are a huge, huge, huge person full of purpose, and that's what you're going after. So,
Which that actually that's good, Rolanda, because actually that's one of an anchors, which is service and dedication to a cause. That is
mhm,
another level of anchoring. So that is important to you, and that's someone who is motivated by the need to help others and motivated for a specific cause and a
right.
purpose that brings meaning to what they do. So
That's right.
you're so that you actually are a great example of the service and dedication to cause anchor that was one of the ones that we were going to talk about. That's important to, you
Hmm.
have to have meaning and purpose to what you do. And so
Yep.
I think it's great.
I also hear or kind of read, and I'm kind of getting that you're very competitive with yourself. You strive for the best, you strive for a goal, and then you kind of go get it and go to the next thing. So I think we really appreciate that. And like Sherry said, this is definitely another one of our anchors that we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah, because I think it's important to recognize that because some people do want a meaningful type of role. And there's so many different things when we think about this. This just gives you something else to think about when you start talking about something
Mhm.
that anchors you and what keeps you solid and grounded to your career. All right, so the next one is security and stability. And I know this probably it is really pretty what it is.
Mhm.
Um, but again, there are a lot of people out there who follow processes, and if it's not a process on paper, they're like it's not real, right? And
Mhm.
some people need to follow processes, and it makes them feel stable and secure, or they want to work for a company who has proven results and know that they're going to be around for a long time. So it's not just about the stability of the company, but it's about really what makes you feel as if you can be the most productive. Because some people need to have
Right.
structured processes and structured ways to work in order for them to feel stable and productive in their roles. You agree with that, Makita?
I do, absolutely. That I think puts a lot of people's mind at ease, kind of lifts their, some weight off of their shoulder when they have the security and the stability.
Yeah, and Lynn says I work well under pressure, and I like that. And then Rolandria says you can call her Ro. Okay,
Thank,
we got you now. We got you now,
thank
Ro.
you.
So going back to the security and stability, if you think about this, a lot of times people who really are grounded in anchored in security and stability are not risk takers.
Mhm.
They need to have that. Yeah, they don't like to rock the boat, not necessarily in terms of, we're not talking about confrontation, but you need things to be pretty solid for you.
Mhm.
Um, and you're not one to say, you know what, I'm going to go on a limb and do this here, and hopefully it'll land. This making this decision and trying to achieve this outcome. You want to know your data is proven in facts and no theory.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that that's something that can work for some industries and some roles, and other roles that need more ideation and more
Right.
uh experimental tasks
Create.
to happen. Yeah,
Yep.
creativity, yeah, for things to happen. And there's nothing wrong with this, right? It's just knowing what your anchors are and what's important to you, because again, it keeps you kind of in your lane for what you're trying to achieve, or keeps you in your lane to utilize your gifts and talents and maximize those in the
Abs-
best way.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. What's the
What's
one?
next?
We have, what do we have next, Sherry?
Is it technical functional? Ah,
Full functional. Yes.
now I'll let you look. You have at it with this one. You can explain the technical functional piece and then kind of break it down for our viewers, and let's see who falls in this category.
Well, the I think the technical functional is pretty self-explanatory as well, where you find yourself to be a subject matter expert. You're just so good at what you do, and you're the um, go-to person for this and for that, and that makes you feel good being that person and being so good at your job. So that's, essentially the technical functional one, like just being so good at your job. And I think that this, honestly, everybody should have this as an anchor. You really do need to be good at your job. That's the first step. That's the first start of everything. So we're curious to know, who are the folks that have the anchor of the technical functional.
Yeah, and I think too, um, being good at your job is great. Being a subject matter expert is great, but also make sure. And I'm going to go back and play devil's advocate because even that's what I do, Nikita. Making sure that you are likable, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
You have to make sure, think about that, right? Being a subject matter expert, being good at what you do is great, but you also have to make sure you have some likability about you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Either
Because
go to,
again,
you're not
yeah,
liked.
you got to be, you have some likability about you. Again, go to people. I mean, anyone. Likability is important. There's something real called likability bias, and so you want to make sure that you're great at what you do, but you're also liked. Not that you need to strategically go out of your way to be liked. Be
Mm-hmm.
yourself, but
Hmm.
don't let being a subject matter expert or being good at your good job go to your head.
Right.
Because again, someone else can be equally as talented as you, but if they're more likable than you are, they're more than likely will receive support and access to specific things in the workplace that you may not have access to, simply because they're more liked than you are, but you all are equally talented. So I just wanted to say that because sometimes people can say, I'm the shit, right? I'm the shit. I can do this, and no one can do it like me, which they probably cannot, but
Mhm.
still make sure that you are making sure that you are likable because that can go a long way in addition to your expertise.
Can, we can.
So,
Lynn,
Makita, go ahead.
yep. So Lynn says, so where does one stand if they need a little of all of these anchors? You're normal. It's probably, everybody really needs all of these anchors. It's just what pushes you the most, right? So, um, like I mentioned, for me, the 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 most important thing is the autonomy. The second most important thing is the creativity. The least important thing for me, probably stability. I like taking risks. I could do that. I could go work for
Yeah.
a, startup company. That's not where I am right now, but that wouldn't scare me at all. So it just means you're normal. You just got to think about which anchor pushes you to really do your best. Like, which one do you need to bring your best self to work?
Yeah, and in order for you to discover what those are, Lynn, you do probably need to do some self awareness. We do have a professional insight tool that you can use, and you can go to BCW. Here's the address right here, and take that a professional insights tool, and that will help you to understand what your anchors are. It really will. It will help you with that. It will help you with your strengths. It's like I think we have 7 different assessments that pan out your entire work style personality, which is amazing. Which we'll probably end up doing a whole workshop around that really soon.
Hmm.
But it's really smart. So any of you who want to sign up for that, please do because it's free because so please gain access to that. We typically make this exclusive to our members to access this only, but we're sharing this with you live here on the LinkedIn and with our members who are watching live from within our app to take advantage of that so you can understand your work style and really understand what's important to you in terms of career
Hmm.
anchors. So just wanted to go back and share that as we go back into that piece.
Yeah.
Um, we have a couple of other questions too. It looks like Natalie says processes and procedures are a must. While fluidity is required for most roles, I noticed that an immense lack of or processes often leads to a lack of organizational effectiveness.
You're right.
Mhm.
No kidding around it. You are right. You are right.
And here's
Absolutely.
the thing, it takes certain personalities to deal with that, right? If you are someone who's very agile and you're flexible, and you're probably able to roll with the punches, and even though the organization is ineffective, you still find internal ways to get things done. So
Hmm.
again, this all goes back to someone who has an anchor of security and structure, I mean stability. You have to have processes and procedures in place, because you're not the one that's just going to have that creativity and want the autonomy and freedom to kind of go in and offer up ways to make those things better, to
Right.
process improvement, right?
Right.
And again, if you're not a process improvement person, then process and procedures are going to be a must for you. So I think that's good. Thank you for sharing that, Natalie. Appreciate that.
All right, so Dion says, I think it's so important to be an expert at what you do. In doing so, you must be able to advocate for yourself and tell your story to be recognized as an expert. Yep. This is particularly true for Black women in competitive environments. Yes, it
I
is.
love that she said that, because we do have to speak. And we talked about this on
Mhm.
career, excuse me, Career Tip Tuesday before, about speaking up, making yourself visible, and being recognized as that expert. Because again, once you become an expert, you do gain access to specific things. So I love that you recognize this, and this is great. So for someone who's watching today, she just dropped a real good gem. This is kind of tweetable way, if you ask me. I
Mhm.
like this. I like it. I like this a lot. All right, so going to the next one, I think it's lifestyle.
Lifestyle. Yep.
Mhm.
You want to take that one?
Yeah, now if we're thinking about lifestyle, absolutely, since the pandemic, I think this has probably become more prevalent than ever, right? I think we've talked about work life balance and all these things prior to, or pre-pandemic, but now that we're not really even post-pandemic, it's COVID still out here.
Yes,
So
it is.
again, um, you know, thinking about lifestyle was more important now than ever. So if
Mhm.
you're someone where lifestyle is important to you, we're talking about work life balance. Or if you're someone who has a lifestyle where you're someone who likes to, you have a lot of outdoor activities, or someone who has a lot of hobbies, and things, and they take up a lot of your time outside of work. You want to be able to have that flexibility. So again, I think we should think about our lifestyles when we are considering opportunities or even promotions. Um,
Mhm.
no one wants to work an 80-hour work week anymore. A lot of people want to work from home, or they want to be hybrid, or they want to have that flexibility to be able to achieve the things they want to achieve outside of the workplace. And
Right.
so lifestyle has become really huge, in terms of how we go about living and working now. And employers have to adopt that as well and make things a lot more flexible for
They do.
employees. Yeah, because
Or
if you want to keep the care costs down,
not
that's
only
important too.
Not only that, employers are now competing with other employers that I'm sure that they'd never been
Hmm.
uh, competing with, excuse me, y'all, before, because of this lifestyle. Because some employers want their folks back at work for 4 or 5 days a week, where another one, you could do the same thing and they're letting you work at home. So, employers, you're absolutely right. They do have to adapt to this as well. They have to listen to their associates.
They have to listen to your social. I just had this conversation with with a peer that said that they're dreading going back to work because they have saved so much money in childcare by working from home, that they've been able to increase their savings account. It's literally not by saving about $500 a month without having to pay for
Mhm.
daycare. They've been able to put that money back into a savings and
Mhm.
build their savings up substantially, not being having to take that money and use it for daycare. So
Yeah.
again, it's also too, what is this doing for your financial portfolio in terms of, the changes that have been made? I know for me, save a heck of gas money. Okay, you look at the what you spend in gas every
Mhm.
day. It's like I save so much. Probably spent it on food, probably more than likely. But anyway, it went somewhere else. It
I
went
mean,
somewhere else.
it's right. I mean, I have to say personally that I am so much more efficient at work, or I'm sorry, at home than being in the office. Just to be able to, and I'm actually fine working maybe an hour, hour and a half longer at
Mhm.
home because I don't have that time driving, um, going out and getting food, putting on makeup and things like that. So I hope employers are hearing us when we say we do not want to go back to the office 100% of the time. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, if you just think about what it has done for your lifestyle, being able to work from home or even being hybrid, right? It's like I used to have to spend my weekends getting laundry done before Monday morning, all these things, but now it's like, okay, I can throw a load in throughout the week because I'm here, and by the time the weekend comes, I actually have the weekend for myself.
Relax.
Not for Monday nights. I mean, not for Sunday night to do laundry or whatever I need to do. It's like I really got a lot more of my time back, and I'm sure the people agree with me as well with that. So, and again, just think about what it's done for your health.
Hmm.
For people who've had to commute and all those things, what it's probably done for your health too, in terms of stress. So, Stacey Perry, hi Stacey. Stacey says, I've always been the subject matter expert in my roles, and I had to find balance with likability. So true, it indeed is still a balancing act. Absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely is a balancing act for sure.
That it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely is. Edith says this is very informative. I'm glad that you like it, Edith. Thank you so much. We're glad that you enjoy that. Any others that we should be talking about? I know we've got a couple more minutes left before we wrap up for the day, but any other ones that we could think about in terms of what grounds you? What are some of your career anchors? And again, I think a couple of we talked about was entrepreneurial creativity. We
Yep.
talked about pure challenge, service and dedication, autonomy, independence. Stability, excuse me, and security. But there could be some unique ones out there for someone who truly is aware of who they are in the workplace and what they need. And again, if you don't know how to discover that, we have an assessment you can take. Again, there it is up on the screen. You'd be more than happy to go in and take our professional insights tool to help you to become more aware of who you are and what you need in the
That's all,
workplace.
that's all right. And to our assessments. If you all have not downloaded our app, please do. You can find it on Google Play. You can find it in the App Store for iPhone. As soon as you download it, register, and you're in the community. Introduce yourselves to us. Let us know how you found us. Yep, Sherry has it up right there. And you will see it's a robust, dynamic community full of other Black career women who are here to have real conversations with you, who are here to support you, who are here to bounce ideas off of you, and are here to help. So we've got some really good events coming up the rest of this month. We have another Career Tip Tuesday, which won't be next week, but the week after that. We have a elevating conversation. Shares that the 28th?
Oh, the elevating conversation. I think the elevating conversation is the 21st.
The 21st. Okay. The
Yeah.
one. Yep. So that's a really good. That's going to be really good. And we have our fall reset challenge coming up. So you can learn
Mhm.
more about that in a little bit. But again, like I said, go ahead and download our app. And I think you all will find the community rewarding.
So I'm saying it right. We'll just say B for now. Okay. She says, "Greetings. Please share the name of your app again. Our app is called Black Career Women's Network, and you can find it in the Apple Store or Google Play. You can just go in and download it. It has all these. It has a. This is where it all goes down, ladies. Is in our app. Our community is in here. All of our tools and resources that we can provide to you as a Black career woman in terms of your job search, career development. We have videos, blogs. We have micro learning lessons. We have a mentor program that we're going to be launching here in the next couple of weeks that you'll have access to sign up for. We have digital downloads, our event calendars where you can go to find out all of our upcoming events. But it's a great way to stay just to one, to join our community and to get to know other Black career women across the country, and then of course have access to all of our tools and resources that we utilize as well. Since 2012, we have helped hundreds of Black women across the country to help them to make the changes that they want to see in their career. So we have been around. Actually, it'll be 10 years in October that we have been
Right.
doing this work. So we've been doing the work before the work was cool. Okay,
Mhm.
serious
Mhm.
about making sure that our Black women are leveling up in the workplace. All right, so we wanted to share that with you guys before we sign off for the day. Deanne says, excellent group of discussions. Thank you. You are so welcome. And we'd love to see you all join again. Just go to your Apple Store or Google Play, type in Black Career Women's Network, or just type in Black Career to pop up. And we're more than happy to love to see you guys in our community on our app. All right. Any last words, Makita, before we wrap up for the day?
No, no, not at all. Just think about, the career anchors that we talked about in finding you and developing your career strategy. Think about what you need to be your best and do your best at work.
So we have about 3 minutes left. So let's go ahead and just give them a rundown of that again. Autonomy and independence, pure challenge, security and stability, service and dedication to a cause, technical and functional in terms of how good are you at your role, and then lifestyle. So
Mhm.
just think about these as you continue to say, what do I need to ground me? What do I need that's absolutely important to anchor me and be the best I can be in the role that I currently have? Or even in your career overall, because you know what I always say. You don't just make a name for yourself where you are or where you work. You make a name for yourself in your industry. That's how you stay marketable, and That's how you increase your income potential.
That's right.
All right. Well, we're going to leave you with this here, which is the life God gave you is larger than the life you've been living, which means that God gives us all, He gives us all special gifts and talents, and it's our job to discover what those are and use those to work in our purpose. So we're so glad you guys tuned in. Latoya, thank you. If this is your first time tuning in, she says definitely won't be the last.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, this is Black Career Women's Network, and we come in every other Tuesday to offer you career tips and advice and invite you to join us in our community. And then Natalie says here, mentoring program coming soon. Yes, indeed. We are
That's right.
working. Actually, as a matter of fact, we have mentors who are signing up right now to be mentors to the who are going to be signing up.
Mhm.
So keep tuned. We got about another week or so before we launch that. So guys, get ready. It's going to be.
Mhm.
So Latoya says yes for the mentor program. Awesome session. Thank you. We're glad you came in. And then she says, amen and amen. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap it
Oh,
up. So we hope you all have an amazing Tuesday, and we will see you all in a couple of weeks. Bye, everyone.